Well, the crazy is going to get guns regardless. People that want something are going to get it. They're going to do what they can to get it. It's the people that are the law-abiding people that mean well. They're the ones that are going to sit there and say, "I want to be a good person and not own a gun." It's a psychological thing. They want to make the concept of gun ownership a bad thing. That the very concept of owning a firearm is something bad and something wrong. Once you convince the public of that, a lot of them are going to fall for it. The problem is you got to change the mentality of what it means to own a firearm, and it doesn't help in the media and in entertainment that the concept of gun ownership is only criminals have guns, and drug dealers and thugs, and people in the military have guns. The concept of gun ownership is about self-defense and self-preservation and independence. That's what it's about. It has nothing to do
Absolutely right.
it doesn't have to do with sportsmanship. It's actually, the reason why it's in the Constitution is because back in the 18th century, it was about forming militias and making sure government
and
does not
protecting
have.
the government from invasion, which we're still susceptible to today. And one of the things that they don't tell you about the Constitution is every male who is a lawful free citizen is to have a stash of ammunition and weapons, automatics.
That's like
now.
law, right?
It is a law by the Constitution for forming militias when the government is overwhelmed in their
But that wouldn't
use
work
of
for
force, and they're
felons,
overwhelmed.
though.
And
But felons,
our government can be overwhelmed. We're powerful, yes. We are not invincible.
with things and people that seem to be cool and seem to be friends and seem to be nice people, and one day it's like a switch, and they just switch on you. That's how you'll know. Hopefully.
And if you want to get information from somebody, what do? Well, first, you come up and you find a common ground where you link. And you watch out. If you have a stranger who finds common ground and links with you, what are they there for? That's the thing.
Because they care. Maybe they care.
And it could be they care, and that's true.
They want to be your friend.
But there's the backdrop of that, in that it could be a plant. If you're working in an organization or thing where you're dealing with top secret things, or with things that other people want to know, and somebody out of the blue just falls into your life, you have to be cautious. It doesn't mean be paranoid, but what are they about? Don't give up something until you know who you're giving it up to. It's important, because in our organization too here, mind, body, soul, we like to keep it clean. But there's going to be people that come into it that are just trying to, one, plant the direction they want it to go, but make it be as though we're focusing that way. And it's all done subtly. And I'm concerned about that, and I pray about it, because we've got to work with everybody.
We should be concerned.
Yeah, and we don't want to hurt them. We don't want to take them out. That's not the point. That's not how we work. And all of these governments, even in the wars that are happening now, the banks are funding both sides, as they always do. So that's how they make their money. That's how they survive. And we are the sacrifices for their profits at times. So What do you care about? Do you care about this? This has been going on for ages, and when they get their claws in, they don't let go. Unfortunately, we are seeing the subjective nature, from my perspective, of how this is going on. But maybe you have a different point of view. Maybe you have different information. Maybe you have something we don't know. We'd like to hear it here on Heart Talk. So won't you join me February 17th in Berkeley, Sproul Plaza, and the surrounding. Maybe we'll go down College Avenue or Hearst and Euclid, wandering around. And we'll be talking to anybody who wants to speak about these issues. I'm Walter Bradley. I invite you to join me on Heart Talk, Sproul Plaza, February 17, 2013. Be there and make your voice and heart known.
Gotta do it ourselves. We have to be the media. You are the media. I am the media. Unfortunately, at this point, I'm doing the media's job, reporting on stuff that I see and my point of view, because all the media is that. That's what Fox News is. It's just a fucking opinion box. You know what I'm saying? You got all these B-rated actors that just give their opinion on shit that they don't know shit about, that the opinion was written by the status quo. GE, all these corporations and shit, the 1%, if you want to get on that note. You know what I'm saying? All these people that control, they write the script and tell them what to say and try to persuade the opinion in your mind. You want to say we live in freedom? You're smoking crack and you're living in denial, because our government pays money, and this is on record. Go look it up for yourself. You be the investigator and go look this up for yourself. The government pays money to ABC, CNN, NBC, all these companies to persuade you to think a certain way. That ain't my opinion. Go look that up. Who owns those news corporations? General Electric does. Lockheed Martin, all these major corporations. Go look them up. They own it. That's not some conspiracy shit. That's just straight up reality shit. You feel me? I'm not making that up. Like, Viacom is like this giant megacorp that owns all these companies. MTV is Viacom. It's not MTV, it's Viacom. You're not listening to Music Television Network. You're not. Where's the music videos at? You feel me? It's not that. No, it's Viacom. Viacom owns it. And what's that on top of Viacom? Or no, what does Viacom also own? Virgin? You know what I'm saying? They own all these corporations. It's like this New World Order corporation. Yeah, Westinghouse.
That run everything.
There's all these. Yeah, InQtel runs freaking Facebook. You know what I'm saying? All these big conglomerates. They're the ones on top.
I understand their methodology. And
I don't think you
subtle.
can. Like, I think the whole gun confiscation, as far as them going door to door, and that's not
That's not going to happen.
First of all, that's stupid.
No,
it's
no.
suicidal.
That would be like.
But they did
jumping
it.
in.
They've done it.
Well, they might do it to some people. They do it to drug dealers.
What if there's a
all
big
the time.
quake here? You think they'd do
That would
it?
be going, like, jumping in with a bunch of pit bulls with pliers and going, I'm going to pull their teeth. Oh, this is go after.
You can't. What I think is going to happen is they're psychologically going to condition the public to not want to own guns. And for those people who do own them, yes, they'll
They're
do
going to
things
make
like
them
ammunition
look
control.
like the illegal move by the newspaper of publishing. That was a criminal act that the newspaper published lawful gun owners with licenses to conceal carry for good reason, because if you conceal carry, you have to put forth reason, you have to be trained. And then the newspaper just publishes them ad hoc and ad lib, just kind of throws it out there. And one guy had his house broken into and a gun because they put his name out there. That's liability that he can sue them and get the money back. And not only that, shut them down. By the fact that they say a citizen can't carry a gun, a legal citizen, that means the criminals are going to carry, they carry, and in any system or country or area where there's a freedom for the legal and constitutionally supported populace can carry guns, just like that man did in that Vegas strip where he was in a little restaurant and two men came in with shotguns going, hey, we're big, we're bad, we're here. And you always see, they're not professional people who know how to handle guns. They're doing this. They're just doing
You know,
effect.
especially if it's a it's a powerful caliber weapon.
And they-
If you hold a gun like this, it's
Yeah.
gonna shoot back like this, and you're gonna hit innocent bystanders.
But that's how they do it in film, though.
And that's
so
the thing with movies.
That's how you know.
And notice is that in movies and
They do all the
television
thing
and
wrong.
music videos, is they make it look like it's such an easy thing to operate.
Yep.
And every time I fire a weapon, it's like it takes skill. It's
You
like
have
you
to
have
know
to practice
what you're
how to
doing.
use this thing.
And
You know?
even to get a gun to work, you don't buy a brand new gun and go out and go, okay, I'm ready. You have to fire at least 300 rounds to get that thing settled in.
That's a lot,
Oh, do you really?
just to get it going.
See, point
You taught
one.
me
All of a
something.
sudden, what? What? You gotta, yeah.
Is that all weapons or just semi-automatics?
Any weapon you do, you have to vet it.
Well, we can't really
Every
get
weapon
semi.
that's built might have minor flaws. Not, each weapon is its own weapon. Just like we're individuals, individual weapons have individual characters. And when you shoot that weapon, you're learning your weapon. And you must learn your weapon. You must be able to tear that thing down and put it back together operationally.
This is how it works in Oakland. Right after that shooting happened, I think 200 people turned in their firearms. This is Oakland, where the police do not respond to burglaries. Those people need guns. I don't need a gun.
They probably got paid. to
I
turn
live in
it.
a safe environment.
And so do I.
You know.
mean, even right here, this is a safe environment. And even without a gun, I could hurt somebody. I mean, I have certain things I learned in the military. And I'm not Mr. Tough. I'm not going around saying, come and bring it on. No, I'm not an idiot. It's just I know certain things that'll protect me, and if I have to, I can kill. But that's not what I'm thinking in my mind. Oh, I want to kill that dude. Oh, look how he's. I want. That's not a normal mindset.
That's how
for
young
somebody.
kids are thinking today.
Well, there is a the ancient thug, is a thug type of mentality where they're out to impress people with how bad they are.
It's a pride
It's an
thing or
impressionary so that they can set turf. When you do something like that, you're putting forth your manhood and your power. And some of them are pretty good at it. My son can do that very well. I mean, he's 6'7" nearly, and nearly 300 pounds.
21 years old. I think.
And he's got unearthly strength. He could tell some big buff, even one of these jiu-jitsu dudes. He knows certain little things, and that I've told him what to do. And I said he could hurt them very seriously and quickly. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Where did I leave off?
we're talking about Pierce Morgan and how he's had his troubles, and the reason why he's over here, why he is not in his home country. Maybe they don't really want him there, but it doesn't sound. It sounds like at least over 100,000 people don't want him here either. So I don't know where's he gonna go. You gotta put him somewhere.
He's basically destroying any chances of finding a home through his actions.
He's wrecking every home that he's given. It sounds like, right?
I mean, you hear people saying it's one thing for a foreigner to come here and exploit the system, right? Well, what about a foreigner coming here to overturn and usurp the system? I mean, isn't that an act of not treason? It's a foreign national coming to our nation, the United States of America, who we the people firmly believe that the Constitution is our, birthright. It's not the Constitution's our birthright. It merely points out our birthrights. It's like a sign pointing at Mount Diablo, saying, "Yeah, that's Mount Diablo over there." It's a sign saying these are your rights. These are what you are given from birth. I mean, these can't be taken away from you. They're inalienable. People are like, well, "What the hell is inalienable?" It's not about aliens and shit from outer space. It's about rights that are yours. They cannot be taken. Something that cannot be taken away. Cannot be made alien to this nation.
Why do they want to take him? I mean, Pierce, obviously.
Well, it's plain and simple genocide. I mean, if you want to jump down to brass tacks, I mean, it's simple. When you have a populace disarmed, let's just take a small little look at our own history as Americans and the mistakes we made throughout the years. Not really knowing what we're doing. I mean, maybe we did know what we were doing, but I think it was really the banks the Illuminati, I guess you can say, you know, the one that was created in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt. They basically went underground after they were destroyed and usurped nations worldwide.
Now, how do we know about them?
I mean, it's all in the history books. The Catholics talk about them. You can look it up in the Catholic Encyclopedia.
There was a guy that was struck by lightning, right?
Yeah.
There was
that's the crazy part, right? Yeah, go ahead, go on.
No, go ahead, tell it.
One of the couriers that was trying to escape France. It was either France or the Netherlands. Can't remember. I want to say it was France, but the government of France or the Netherlands, one or the other.
Government of.
I want to say it was. Was it Bavaria? I can't remember. Regardless, what happened was this guy was trying to get the documents out to other people so that it could spread. But what ended up happening while he was en route, he was struck by lightning while riding his horse. I mean, some say that was like an act of God or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it was pretty crazy.
That's pretty
coincidental
crazy.
or not. I mean, look it up for yourself. That's documented history. I'm not, you know, if I could, I would make that up. But you know, fact is always stranger than fiction, like they say.
But
all right, so
reality is, let's get back to the subject now.
Let's take.
I want to get back to Sonny.
I do too. Let's take a little break and then
a break, dude. The world is on fire, and you want to put the water down?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
I think we can spare 30 seconds.
Sonny, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds
Your days are numbered, Federal Reserve.
good. And then the government gets involved and turns it into a monster.
Oh, that's what they do. They are the monsters. Feed the beast.
It's true. The governments, once they get involved, they turn it to destruction for their honor and protection, somewhat. And they get it ultra secret so nobody else can touch it. Mm-hmm. Gas that can get you, you know, a carburetor gets you 100, 200 miles a gallon. Disappear. Tesla gets it for free power. Disappears. All of this.
Yeah, it's all about.
They hate anything that'll help humanity.
Yeah, but why? I mean, why would it?
Because
hurt
they
them?
want control and they want money, and that's what it's all about. The love of money is the root of all evil. This is where that power comes in.
How could they
Westinghouse and Edison didn't want free power out there, otherwise their business would fail. And they'd be dirt poor and just have to work like the rest of us. They didn't like that.
But if these theories on the chemtrails are actually real, that's like that's hard.
Let's go to Sonny now. Sonny, tie it in with your book. What do you think about this current gun scare, Obama, Congress, and all these new, executive orders, which are not totally legal, and you may know about that and can discuss that. So here I am. I'm turning over to Sonny to talk about the vegetarian agenda and gun control. Hey, take it, Sonny.
Okay, well, people got to understand what the real reason behind gun control is, and people could say it's to protect the citizens. People could say it's to reduce violence and crime or whatever. My take on it is the real reason is to get rid of the individual's sense of independence and self-reliability.
I agree.
And what that means is that when you own a firearm, you have the ability to defend yourself. You have the ability to hunt. You have to hunt your own food. It is, and then also you have the ability to assert your own sense of will and power over anybody else, which is something they want to get rid of. They want you to be dependent on the system. So instead of, say, self-defense, they want you to rely on the police, or burglar alarms, which all cost money, which you got to pay taxes on. Instead of hunting your own food, they want you to go to the grocery store and buy your own food. They want you to be dependent on a system. So they want you to it's a psychological thing. They want you to feel guilty about ownership of a firearm. And that is a psychological test for you to submit all your will to the government or anybody who's going to protect you. It doesn't even have to be a
Well, isn't that kind of like taking them to be, and this is my interjection, but doesn't that kind of make them like God over your life?
Well, it's a parental force. It's like you
Yes.
get someone reliability.
A rulership.
A person who owns
Absolute
a firearm
rulership.
is somebody who has the instinctual ability to take care of themselves, which is what they don't want you to do. They want you to be able to rely on the systems.
To be like a child.
Basically, well, I mean, it doesn't matter. Basically, they just don't want you to have your own sovereignty, your own sense of self.
Exactly.
Your own
They
sense
want
of
you to be
power,
like
your
a
sense of
child
it.
to where they can direct you to do this and do that.
My theory on diet, where this comes into vegetarianism, is vegetarianism.
Yes, this is the point I like.
Vegetarianism, what it does is it turns the human into a herbivore, plant eater. Okay? Plant eaters cannot hunt their own food. They cannot defend themselves against predators. They don't have the ability biologically to fight, attack, or defend themselves.
Yeah.
Only to hide. They don't have flight instincts, not fight instincts.
So it fits very well within this paradigm.
Vegetarians will not want to own a firearm. They don't have any instinctual, intuitive desire to defend themselves or to aggress any force, whether it's good or bad. They just don't have it.
The New World Order, this global economy and the globalism that you want to establish so that you can have total power, which eventually will kick you out and take over from one who will install his own power and destroy you. Bankers will lose, we will all lose then.
You go down East 14, take a right, go to those older neighborhoods in San Diego. Those houses, those neighborhoods are almost 100 years old.
And
they're
were built by
nice.
craftsmen.
They're beautiful, well-structured
You're right.
homes.
And they were
they're
built-
not expensive homes. They're actually one of the cheapest neighborhoods in the Bay Area, but they look nice.
And they're well built.
Yeah, they're
Now,
well built.
I did see a home up in Oakland, right off of Redwood Road, going up to Skyline. I went in and just looked when he was building it, and it was one man building the whole house. Because he wanted to build a house, he said. Everything done. And I looked at everything. He was a craftsman. And even the stairs were built oak banister, stepped, interlaced, perfectly tight. Everything built solid, built for earthquakes, built on a hill, foundation tight. And I thought, whoa, I'd love to own this home.
It's an art. It's a work of art.
Yes.
Those homes. So they're every piece, indoors, outdoors, everything.
But the problem is, builders today are not building homes. They're throwing together tract houses. And even if they're building a neighborhood or whatever, they're slapstick. And I mean literally, they're slapping sticks and pasteboard up. And
they're
they're
put them up in 3 months. my house in Las Vegas was put up in 3 months.
Wow.
And that's
And you could see the walls where they the drywall was off kilter and
Really?
exactly.
you could tell it was put together
It's
quickly
called
to
slapstick, and that's not just the comedian slapstick. It's just throwing something together and going, here you go, you got a house. Hello, I'm Walter Bradley. I was posed a question. Why do I do Heart Talk? And that's a question we all deal with our lives daily is, why do we do what we do? Why do we work where we work? Well, it starts out where we're good at something and people tell us, well, if you're good at that, go to school, get your degree, and work and use that gift to help others. That's what a job is helping somebody make a profit. But is that all there is to life? No, it isn't. There's more to life than profits. Maybe it's breaking even that's better. Now, to hear it from the business point of view and the bankers, profits are everything. But I'm here to tell you that's a lie. Profit isn't everything. The most important thing is family and relationships.
You know, when you look at rich people, you don't want to look at them like they're all evil.
No, because they're hardworking people. It's like I was talking to a friend today in family radio. His friend worked in a kind of computer-style business, worked very hard. He said working 15-hour days sometimes, 16-hour days, and putting together packages for their customers. And then they worked at it many years, and Craig told me, he said, and after a while they sold their business for $7 million. And he said he's a regular down-to-earth guy who was going out to a movie. And he said, oh dude, you got any money? I don't have any cash. And the other guy was going, this guy's a millionaire. And this is interesting, is that he had forgotten his money and he didn't have any, check, nothing there, and just didn't have any cash. He went, oh dude, can I? And of course he's good for it. If a guy, a millionaire, says, hey, you got $50, you're going to go, Why not?
I think first you're gonna go, what? What?
Why are you doing? Why?
Dude, I was gonna ask you for 200. What are you talking about?
I don't see that our Congress is doing what it needs to really help the people, whether it be in gun control or whether it be in controlling banks. And the 2008 debacle in which we threw away trillions of dollars, we stood by. Congress stood by as the bankers did do a holdup, so to speak, in a big way. And I'm sure that they still do not know the amount that was used to be assayed in that to cover all the debts of the losses due to the problems of selling the mortgage and Fannie Mae and all of the different losses that were incurred by all the major bank holders and which were sold into European banks and pretty much set us on a course that they said was greater than the Great Depression.
I don't believe in state marriage. I only believe in God's marriage. That's it. That's all. For me, that is it.
Well, that is the marriage.
Nothing else matters.
And any other marriage
I'm not
which
worried
is,
about the state.
and see the thing is they say you have to have witnesses for a marriage. And why is that? Because it's a spiritual and a binding oath that you're making. And most people really don't take those oaths too seriously anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if churches should even be giving in to the whole marriage, to the state
Well,
marriage.
when you sit there and have to get a
I
permit,
don't know if
and
that's
then
right.
all of this, a marriage permit and a marriage license, the state licenses marriages.
It makes no sense.
You know,
it really makes no sense.
It seems like that we have capitulated a long time ago to some of these things that are basically unnecessary.
Yeah.
But due to the fact that the Father says, pay the tax where they want, because we do not want to offend, we do that. We do it. I'm not telling people out there not to get licenses
Christ paid his tax, you know what I mean? But
and to rise up against your
but
government.
my issue is that people,
That's not the way to go.
are getting married for the wrong reasons.
Pardon me.
There's a lot of people who are getting married just as a protest because they think that gays should get married. There's gay people that have their own spouses that are getting married to people that aren't gay just because there's a lot of tax breaks and things like that. And it's like, man, this all goes back to the Federal Reserve System that is giving people incentives for state marriage. It's not an incentive for God's marriage, and has nothing to do with God's marriage.
Well said.
It only has to do with proving to yourself that you are loyal to the state. I'm not loyal to the state because the state is not loyal to God. It's not loyal to Christ. And if you're not loyal to a Christ, then I'm sorry. I cannot be loyal to you. I can deal with you. I can be respectful towards you. I can treat you the way that I would want others to treat me. But I will never be loyal to a state that is not loyal to Jesus Christ, that is not loyal to God and to the Bible.
Well, the United States is antichrist in most of its ways.
You know, some of the
There are some
founding
who are working
things that I've read, some of their books and things that I've read,
Well, they're very
and
good.
even the actual Constitution itself, the fact that it even mentions God, the fact that it says that we have God-given rights, to me, and you can say everything else in the Constitution is wrong, but there are some things that are really, really right.
Absolutely.
And they're
And I
common
agree.
sense. They're common sense.
Did you vote for this president?
No,
Would you?
no, I could not.
Why not?
You know, they say that you can judge a man, one, by the company he keeps, by what he says, and what he has accomplished. When he came into this presidency, he had not really accomplished anything or written a bill or done anything. So there was nothing to judge by. And some people are railroaded into the presidency. He was one of those that I see was chosen to be president for whatever purposes. There's a lot of speculation about why him. There's a lot of inane things out there, insane, crazy things that I may touch on in Heart Talk, but they're too far out to bring into the realm of reality.
Like he's a reptilian or something? Like what?
Oh, well, no. Well, everybody comes under
reptilian?
that in Congress, it seems, they say. I don't quite follow that line of thinking, and I don't follow the attitude that these are morphers or that they turn into something else, that's getting too far afield of reality for me. And you must deal with reality and bring things into, I'm one that wants to bring it to truth. And one of the things that I like to do in Heart Talk is ground it in reality and what we can know and see, and go with what we know. That's based in fact.
Yeah, basically, they just don't want you to have your own sovereignty, your own sense of self.
Exactly.
Your own
They
sense
want
of
you to be
power,
like
your
a
sense of
child
it.
to where they can direct you to do this and do that.
My theory on diet, where this comes into vegetarianism, is vegetarianism.
Yes, this is the point I like.
Vegetarianism, what it does is it turns the human into a herbivore, plant eater. Okay? Plant eaters cannot hunt their own food. They cannot defend themselves against predators. They don't have the ability biologically to fight, attack, or defend themselves.
Yeah.
Only to hide. They don't have flight instincts, not fight instincts.
So it fits very well within this paradigm.
Vegetarians will not want to own a firearm. They don't have any instinctual, intuitive desire to defend themselves or to aggress any force, whether it's good or bad. They just don't have it in them. Now, Western society is an omnivoric society, and so the only thing that work intuitively, Westerners are hunter-gatherers. They're predators to a certain extent. So instead of psychologically conditioning them to shut that off, they just have to put fear in them to not want to do it. So Western society, I'd say, firearm usage was traditionally not only a form of self-defense or self-assertion, but also self-reliance. People who hunt use a firearm to hunt their meat.
Well, what they're saying and what is
Protect your
interesting,
farm from attack.
and one of the things that I have heard, and Dianne Feinstein, with respect to her position, which I disagree on some areas, is the fact she says we don't need clips to do this and that, and I disagree with her about the clips. Now, I agree with the fact that we don't want wild, mentally deranged people running into our schools and killing our children. However, it's not, I hate to say it this way and I'll vet it, it's not the gun's fault. It is the police and the psychiatric and the drug companies and those who saw these things coming and for some reason just didn't catch it.
Have you ever seen? Does Berkeley have any gun shops at all?
I've never seen any. None.
I'll have to look that up.
And I've tried, and I haven't found anything.
I haven't found any either.
The most important things that you realize in Texas and in the South, for example, Texas has made it, and I think another state, I forgot who, will make it illegal, and the sheriff will arrest any federal officer trying to enforce gun laws which conflict the United States Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. That's the fomentation of rebellion. Not rebellion against the government, but to reestablish the government we had before those who have taken it to a non-democratic and area. And the thing about it is, this is not a democracy. We are a republic. A democracy votes on the issues as they come up, and they put them up in block or in one or whatever you want to say. But we are a republic. We elect our representatives to go to the Congress and the Senate to speak our voice. However, are they speaking our voice now? And on Heart Talk, we want to interview the people on the street. We want to interview you and get your opinion on what is the representation that we're getting in Congress, or are we even represented anymore? I'll have some interesting stories about the 3 cities that rule the world on Heart Talk, and then they have their own flag, and they have their own laws, and they do not subject themselves to any laws of any nation, so they're independent city-states. Can you name those 3? And if you can, put it in the post beneath this YouTube or podcast, and we'll discuss that, and we'll vet what you have to say or confirm. One of the things here that Sonny's bringing up, which is very true, is they're bringing up the pressure in stages. And one of the things is, a frog, when you bring up the heat, will eventually feel that heat and jump out. The frog in the pot is not a true analogy. And that is almost a conditioning in itself. to make you think that they can bring it up slowly and you just meld into everything. The fact of the matter is, our Congress, if we had the forefathers here, in a sense, at least many of them, they would say this Congress is not fit to make laws. And technically I would agree with that. Because they do not base it on facts and a foundation of truth. And I say that with respect to the Congress, but when you say guns are the problem, I think you're missing a big part of the picture. We should outlaw cars because they cause accidents, right? We should also outlaw knives because they cause cuts. We should, kind of outlaw swimming because people drown.
That's just why they get the public to back it, because it's always about safety of children, safety of women, safety of...
But they always come up with these unrealistic expectations.
They don't understand. They always bring that statistic of Britain, Great Britain has gun control and they have a lot lower homicide rate than we do. Or Canada has a lot lower homicide rate than we do. Canada, by the way, has a higher gun ownership rate than the United States does.
Yeah.
And they have a lot less gun violence. The number one cause, I don't know what the percentage is because I don't quote me on this, I'm not sure. I heard something that's like 85% of gun-related violence or even crime in general is related to drugs. The drug
they create the
culture of
environment.
something, whether it's a drug trade, a junkie that wants to get a fix and just mug somebody, rob and kill somebody.
So if they legalize certain elements...
Well, the point is that most gun violence or violence in general, another thing is when you look at the homicide rate, they're not all caused by guns. A lot of it's caused by knives and baseball bats. And
blunt objects. Let's out for them because most blunt objects
so it's like
are the ones
80-90% is related to illegal drugs or racketeering or gang violence. And the other 15 or 10% is like domestic violence. Very little of it is a crazy person going out shooting up a school. It's
really
unusual.
Wait,
we've had so many in such a short time.
But that's a great point. Two great points that you just made. Number one, the point you made is that it's a small percentage of people that actually do school shootings or mass shootings. You raised the other great point is that it's only happened within the last year or so where we've seen a big spike in this.
And why? One of the things that one of my friends said recently that I had not heard is that Barack Obama was born in British Columbia and that was a native of Canada. And I go, that's news to me. And I haven't challenged her on that. I think he's more Kenyan than anything. In fact, in Chicago, he was listed as from Kenya, born in Kenya, and raised in the United States, brought to Hawaii, and then here. I'm not in that fight about his birth certificate. He shouldn't be president. He was elected, whether or not he was a native anyway. He's already in. There's nothing you can do about that unless the government is willing to look and vet and do it.
But if it's unconstitutional, then why would we say that that's fine just because?
No, I don't say it's fine. I'm just saying the government powers and all of the powers that be and know and follow this are not going to act. But we need to ask the question of why. That was the point I was coming to. Why will they not act? And that goes back to the three cities. This is a bigger thing than just our government, I think. And I think there's much more at stake in the United States and the sovereignty that is there with the Constitution. For example, a sheriff is sovereign. What he says is going to go as long as it's within the Constitution. And there's no officer, federal or otherwise, who can top him. And if they do, then they're overthrowing the constitutional authority. That's the fact. A lot of people don't understand the Constitution and know that everybody 44 years of age or younger must have a cache of weapons and ammunition on it to prevent the things that you've been hearing in the public and saying, what do we do? It's not going to be anything they can do by the laws they are enacting. I can tell you that for sure. And if you doubt me, look at prohibition. That's a big example. And the problem is with the drug, is that it alters the mind. And like I say, it kills the area of compassion in relation to empathize with people around you. And they can kill as many of us as they want. That won't establish the fact that they can hide that. And that's one of the big problems in society is that, like in 1984 in Brave New World, we've come to that point of actually living that book out in that drugs are the answer to everything. But look at the disclaimers that they're putting with these drugs. May cause you to think, lose control of your mind, becoming kind of psychotic. They're basically saying you can become psychotic, and under certain circumstances could kill yourself because of the drug, or may cause violent episodes.
And those
so
are...
they're setting up their paradigm so that when it comes to them, they have an out. Well, we told you that.
Well, but those
this
are
may
most
happen.
of those are most of the shooters that do some type of crazy thing, that do these mass shootings that you're talking about,
Well,
are the people that are on drugs. Normal people who have guns haven't done this. When you look at the history, look at the history of guns.
Let's go to the
Look
Amityville
at the
Horror.
history of guns from whenever the first gun was ever made.
But let's go
Well,
back
yeah,
to
because in the
to,
1950s
now,
and 1940s,
there are-
more citizens owned firearms than they now, and there was far less crime.
yes,
Not only that,
and it wasn't guns.
and you look, all you gotta do, this just proves all the statistics, is how many percentage of gun owners, registered firearm owners in this country have committed a violent felony.
I've owned guns all my life.
That's all you gotta do right there. You just that fun fact right there.
Yeah.
And there's very few.
90% of the people that own firearms have never committed a violent crime. How can you say it's guns?
And when those people do, there are extenuating
Well, yeah.
circumstances.
Well,
Yeah, self-defense.
Let me deal with it.
You gotta
Well,
look at
stats
where
aren't
they
stats
have-
aren't based on people that haven't committed crimes.
Exactly.
Stats aren't based on the people who have
I like
guns
that
and have
point.
never committed
there's
crimes.
the good thing. And see, the thing that Congress and a lot of people are trying to do is distract you like in Oz. They get you involved with this thing that you're seeing. It's great. That's the mighty Oz. But
I want to see
behind
that
the
movie,
scenes,
too.
behind the scenes is this little old man in it playing,
Yeah.
and he's making an image with technology.
Yeah, he's just a he's
He's
a phony.
Exactly.
He's a phony.
Very good. Hello, I'm Walter Bradley. Have you ever thought why the people rebelled in past times? Why did this nation form from their rebellion? What was it they were thinking of? Well, one of the most important things that came about as I was talking with Greg was the attitude of living your life according to your values, not somebody else, not imposing anything on you. Now, laws are necessary for every government to be effective, and as long as those laws are right and true, then you have a good government. You may not agree with everything, but you can at least say they're working for the good of all. In our case, in the United States, and not only the United States, but in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, South America, Canada, wherever you look, governments are being subverted by many people who are not working for the good, but for the extrapolation of wealth and to put them under the control of not the government, but of banking cartels, we can call them. And these cartels are expressly owned by the richest, most powerful families in the world. Now, I don't want to start throwing in the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers or the Campbells or any of the Sinclairs or any of this out there. That's covered in other books. But the point being is that in this area, it goes back to he who has the gold doesn't need to follow rules. They make them. And you see this happening in every government in the United States. Look what happened in 2008. They who had the gold and the money made the rules. Give us money or it's over. Scared Congress enough to give them all the money they wanted. Worked then, works now.
Get that in there.
Of course.